Hello and welcome to this exclusive FlippedNormals course of Advanced Anatomy for Sculptors. In this course I'm going to be teaching you my processes and systems when it comes to using anatomy in my work every day, whether that's creating concept art, whether it's as a creature supervisor, or whether it's as a fine artist working in clay. Now, anatomy is something that I work on every day and constantly think about how I can improve not only for myself but also in teaching it. And in the years that I've spent teaching anatomy, I've taught it to artists who've worked in visual effects for many years at Oscar-winning studios like Double Negative and Framestore, and I've also taught it to artists who are spending their very first day working with the figure. And in both cases, I always open with the question of why study anatomy? And it's a question that I think deserves deep thought and consideration. So I'd like you to think about it now as I go into my reasoning for it. And whatever your reason is going to be, it's in some way going to be loosely connected to, I want to improve working with the figure, right? Something like that. And then the question that we need to ask ourselves is, how is our anatomy study going to help us with the figure? And this is the thing that I think we don't think about enough, because what I notice when I'm teaching anatomy is that we have a tendency to go, okay, I'm going to learn it like a doctor, right? I'll learn all of the muscle names and their origins, insertions, maybe I'll do some drawings of them and some sculpts as well, and then in the end that will make my work better. And not only does that not have much impact on your work, it can actually often make your work worse, because then your work becomes very anatomical and people who are looking at it are very conscious of the anatomy rather than the soul of that creature or the pose or whatever it is that you're doing. So when I'm working with anatomy and when I'm teaching it, I'm basically going, okay, how can we work with an anatomy in a way that is going to have a direct, immediate and aggressive impact on the work that we do day to day? So when I'm teaching anatomy, what I'm thinking about is, how can we think of the human body as a machine, and how can we construct that machine from the ground up? Instead of, for example, the temptation to think about it as IKEA furniture. As long as we can memorize these 10 steps, then we're going to be able to assemble a body that will work. Well, that's great, but then what if you need to change the body? What if you need to make it older, younger, fatter, thinner? Why is it that we generally ignore fat when we're studying anatomy, even though it can be 20, 30, 40, 50% of the body? Isn't that a huge thing to overlook? Why don't we consider the impact of skin on the body? Why are we so obsessed with peeling the skin off? So what I'd love for you to get out of the course is a way of looking at the human body in this way. So that then when you're using anatomy in your work, you're thinking, how can I use it to make my work more descriptive, to have more impact, and not just to be more anatomical? So thank you so much for checking out this video, and I really hope that you'll join me on this journey of learning advanced anatomy for sculptors.